Street Talk! Yeah!
Welcome to Street Talk. I am your host, Jason, and this is for Wednesday, October the 22nd. Worked so well with tennis yesterday, I figured why not go back to the well once more. Hopefully you guys weren't snake bitten by Man City, and perhaps took my advice and stuck with the tennis. If not, it's okay. Let's get back on track and get a green today. We're going to go with the Swiss indoor tournament again. Roger Federer versus Gilles Muller. Now, we know all about Roger Federer, number 2 ranked tennis player in the world. And if you remember way back in the Shanghai finals when I broke down Djokovic versus Federer, Federer can actually take over the number 1 ranking by the end of this year. So you know that's weighing heavily on his mind. You know, I'm sure he'd love nothing more than to get back to the top of the mountain, turn the calendar to next year, perhaps get a number 1 seed starting out the year with the Australian Open. But he's got a lot of work to do in between now and then. He faces the 51st ranked player in the world, the 6'5" Luxembourgese, 6'5" player from Luxembourg, Gilles Muller. He is a lefty, so he's got that at least going for him. Now, if we just break down with odds, Federer minus 1600 favorite just to win, which is what we'd expect. We remove the vig and pi percent. Federer 90.4% favorite to just win the match outright. Now, when we're looking at the prop, we're not talking about just winning though. The prop is, how many games will Federer lose? 7 or fewer versus 8 or more. So we're obviously going to expect him to win. We're obviously going to probably have to expect him to win 2-love. And I'll tell you why. First of all, removing the vig and pi percent for Federer winning 2-love is 73.8%. Still high, just a smidge lower than I might have predicted before I started digging into the numbers. There is a small, tiny, infinitesimal chance that this could go 3 sets and Federer still loses 7 or fewer, but it's such a low probability. We're talking about Federer bageling him twice and losing the second set in the middle. Just probably not going to happen that way. So I'm going to throw out that as so low on the mathematical probability scale that it really won't affect the percentages that I'm looking at today. So if we just look at the over-under game score, it's sort of interesting. 20.5, okay? Now, while that doesn't tell us necessarily whether 7 or fewer will hit, something interesting is both the over and the under are weighed the exact same. They both have minus 120 vig on them, meaning it's right down the middle. It's a 50-50 probability that it's going to be under 20.5 and over 20.5 in Vegas odds. What that tells me is Vegas isn't exactly sure which way this match is going to tilt. Now, under 20.5 could still hit for 8 in that 6-4, 6-4 would obviously be 8 or more category. But with Vegas putting the exact same amount of juice on both sides, they're not sure. They're just covering their bases so they can still make money no matter what happens. Breaking down the game, sort of the game spread, if you want to think of it as like a point spread in football or basketball, Federer is minus 4.5 game favorite. Interestingly enough, the vig is the same on both sides again, minus 120. More indication that Vegas thinks this match could possibly go either way. If we look at just first set scores, the most likely odds were Federer winning 6-3, Federer winning 6-4. Those were tied for likely odds. And interestingly enough, 7-6 Federer winning is the next best odds for first set exact score. So, how are we going to weigh all this? Well, head to head, they haven't faced each other much. They did face each other once this year in Wimbledon. Federer winning in straight sets, 3-love, score 6-3, 7-5, 6-3. So Muller still sort of hung in there with him, even though he did get beat in straight sets. Before that, they hadn't faced each other since 2008. So I'm going to sort of throw out that history. It's so long ago. I think Muller was actually ranked 130th in the world at that point. Now he's all the way up to 51. And 6 years is a long time, especially when we're talking about tennis. So for me, even though Roger Federer has never lost a set to him, and even though he's a heavy favorite, I'm going to harken back to a prop we broke down earlier on Street Talk, back when Federer came in, first match in Shanghai, and our boy Leo Mayer, you remember that prop. Leo took the games score. He didn't win the match, but it took Roger a decent amount of games just to beat him. It went 3 sets. Roger came in a little bit rusty. I say he comes in just rusty enough to green 8 or more. So that's my pick, 8 or more for the green. I hope you guys enjoy it. We'll see you next time on Street Talk.